Hello, everyone. E3 is over now, and as such, the game journalists, if you could call them journalists, are coming out, but none with quite as much notoriety as Feminist Frequency, which said, according to this Polygon article, E3 2019 was a bad year for female representation in video games. Feminist Frequency's annual look gender representation at E3 doesn't look good for women. Yeah, nice fucking editing, Polygon. So let me tell you something off the bat that really has gotten on my nerves over the last 4 years since Gamergate. The opinion that women in games need to not be sexualized, not be supporting roles, and not be quote-unquote tropes are some of the most toxic opinions about game design I think I've ever heard. First of all, there is no reason a sexualized woman isn't empowered. If a woman wants to be sexy and also kick ass and take no prisoners, be my guest, I love the character. Supporting characters are some of the most memorable characters in story-centric games, even so far as to say in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Navi is a loudmouth bitch, but made the entire experience memorable. So much so that people used her sound effect as a goddamn ringtone. And finally, a trope or an archetype is not inherently bad. The most common trope is, of course, the captured damsel or damsel in distress trope. I will take you to the original Paper Mario, where not only do you find Peach roaming the castle seeking out information to relay to Mario via a cute little star, but you see her essentially risk her life to do so. So don't at me with that helpless damsel crap. Almost every mainstream game I can explain some shit about the females that feminists want to portray as weak and helpless. Now I sound like a feminist. But you know, a real one. But anyway, let's look at this article before I get on another tangential rant. A new report from Feminist Frequency published at Wired looks at the gender breakdown of protagonists in video games and of presenters at E3. And the overall takeaway is this: 2019 was a bad year for women's representation at E3. E3 2019 had the lowest percentage of female protagonists since Feminist Frequency first started collecting data. Again, great editing. Such data in 2015. I call horseshit, but continue. According to the report, 5% of games featured exclusively female protagonists this year, whereas 22% featured exclusively male protagonists. This year, 65% of games shown offer players multiple options when picking a gender, and you're mad there's a choice, huh? Overall, there has been a trend for gender choice in video games, but Feminist Frequency's report emphasizes that gender choice in games isn't enough. It's not just about having the option to play as a woman, it's about centralizing video game narratives and play around women. Carolyn Petit, managing editor at Feminist Frequency, and Feminist Frequency executive director Anita Sarkeesian write, "It's true that the number of games in which you could either control characters of different genders or get to choose the gender of your hero character significantly outstrip those with established male or female protagonists. And of course, as a general trend, the freedom to choose or create your own character is a welcome one. However, it's fundamentally different from being asked by a game to take on the role and experiences of a specific character." So yeah, straight up, you're just mad that people aren't forced to play women, or forced into a women's story. Look, there are plenty of games where women have been forced to take on males' stories, and I get it, I understand the frustration, but you had 65% of games giving you the choice between male or female, plus the additional 5%, and you have a choice of 70% of the games being played as a woman. I'd say that's a fucking plus, wouldn't you? And let's go over the original Wired article, and I'll show you why you actually won this year, you crazy sock puppet. 2015, a choice of 55% female playable characters. 2016, 52%. 2017, 59%. 2018, 58%. And 2019, 70%. And you telling me that you lost, or E3 is a loss for women this year? But you know what's interesting? With all the virtue signaling, you lost sight of every other character. You were so upset that the player wasn't living the life of a female protagonist that you didn't think of the supporting characters, the multiple choices, the representation of other women in games. It seems like in your frustration, you actually sold out good representation. Let me give you some examples. Final Fantasy VII is getting a remake. Congratulations. The childhood heartthrobs of so many young male adults who played the game as children or teens are now getting to see good female representation presented again and win their hearts back all over again. And a new generation of kids gets to grow up with this memory too. And of course, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. I love Zelda. It was my entire childhood, and from what it looks like, it's gonna feel a bit like Wind Waker. Spoiler alert. With the player being able to travel around and adventure with Zelda, whether you knew it or not. And that, my friends, that is a companion. A companion that has fought alongside you, that has slayed Ganondorf and Ganon alike beside you, on the back of a horse or by shooting some crazy magic light. Fuck you. I love Zelda. How dare you not consider her a good representation of women? Gamer rants, man. And finally, one of the things you randomly slid into this article, which I have to question on every fucking level, is this. Finally, a note on combat and violence in games. During Ubisoft's presentation, a trailer for their upcoming game, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, featured actor John Bernthal utter the line, "The only test of a man's worth is battle," unwittingly distilling what seems to be a widespread perception among both players and game designers. Which is? This year, of the 126 games we surveyed, 107 featured combat of some form as a gameplay mechanic, while only 19 games, or about 15%, did not. Of course, not all combat is the same. The endearing sword-swinging of Link in Nintendo's adorable upcoming remake of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening is a far cry from the grisly demon-slaying of Doom Eternal. However, we believe that there remains a vast range of unexplored potential for games as a medium, and continue to advocate for a greater percentage of games that explore the possibilities of non-violent gameplay mechanics. Going off script, why do you guys sound like fucking Christian Puritan fucking bigots telling me that I'm not allowed to listen to metal music or listen to punk music because it's Satan's music, it's Satan's corruption of the youth? Why is that how that came across? Okay. You want women to be non-violent and passive, don't you? You sexist bigots, you. I don't know about the feminists in the room, but whether the woman is a princess shooting magic arrows in the back of a horse while getting attacked by the reincarnation of Malice himself, or a sexy-ass version of Ivy from Soul Calibur bringing the pain to a whole host of male characters, I would rather there be women in games than none at all. Right? But let me know what you guys think. This was more of a rant video than a news cycle, but I've wanted to do my own tropes of women in games, but I haven't found the time. Hopefully I find it soon. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. I thank you all for coming out, and I'll see you all soon.